where the wrestling truth resides.
Like I didn't want to ask like some like why you sold it and stuff like that because I didn't want to really like.
Oh, I'll ask some brutal questions.
Yeah, I didn't want.
It was years ago. I rather get the information out there. I'm sure a lot of people want to know why I sold it. Like,
we can hear.
I remember when everybody, like, when I first announced I was selling it, everybody was all excited. It was like, oh, something fresh. And then as soon as it got sold, everybody's like, I wish you still owned it. I'm like, go fuck yourself. Like,
it was the process of how it got exchanged over, which was like kind of the silly gimmick of it all. Because you had all of the entire roster sitting in the locker room and then coming out into the area and like talking to who was now going to own it, which it was funny. Just the way that it was.
Here, I'll lay it out there. So I'll tell you what was the reason that made me want to sell it. And then I'll tell you, I'll start there, like, and I'll go from there. Y'all remember I used to run the Skowhegan Fair shows. Mm-hmm. I was the one that rebuilt that bridge with Walter Height and Stan from Stan's Fries, God rest his soul. Stan from Stan's Fries used to have me, I don't know if you remember this, O'Reilly, but we used to do those birthday parties.
Yeah.
His grandson there.
One of them.
Yeah. So we used to do those birthday parties every year for his grandson. He paid us a lot of money to do those, and I'd actually put on a pretty good show for what he paid. And he was like, well, we should get you into the fair. We'd have to sit down with Walter Height, who was the guy who runs the fair. Yeah. He also runs the big car dealerships in Skowhegan.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that.
He's the owner. So he's the guy. So I had to go with Stan, meet Walter Height, and explain to him. Luckily, I showed him the stuff from when we were on Fox, and I was like, hey, this is what I bring to the table, and this is what we can do, and I'd really like to try it. He's like, okay, well, we'll try it. Because that first Skowhegan Fair run, it was a bunch of spot shows. It was like 2 here, 1 here, 2 there, 1 here, 1 there, 2 here. Like, so I filled all the dates with other towns in the state to fill the gap, so we had a full 2-week run of wrestling. But anyhow, after we built it back up, I started running there. I did 3 years worth, and then the third year is what made me decide actually that I wanted to sell IWE, because that third year I wasn't wrestling at the time. I'd just gone through a bunch of surgeries and health issues and was on the mend and getting better shape, feeling good, had all the surgeries done. And I had 16 cancellations that third year for that Skowhegan Fair. We had pretty much 2 weeks of wrestling.
I don't even remember what year.
Paid daily, paid shows.
Right.
2 weeks full of wrestling. I had 16 cancellations.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I was you gotta tell me, brother. Like, these are paid shows, so I was paying people. I mean, some days it was so I obviously was not gonna pay everybody like, hey, you get $1 million for you, $1 million. You know, I was paying people their normal pays, and just because obviously I'm doing the work here, I'm providing, so I'm gonna pay everybody their normal paydays. But it was like 2 weeks straight of wrestling, and I still had this. I was still running the school, so I had plenty of students. But even the students, I had literally, with students included, like 16 cancellations. It was wild. It was just not a good scene. So it got down to the last day, and I'm so happy because I'd skated by with just enough talent every day to have a show,
Right.
1 hour show. That's all they wanted. I had enough talent to make it to that last day. That last day had even more cancellations, had 4 more.
Jeez.
So I, luckily, as the saying goes, always keep your gear bag in the car. I had my gear bag in the truck. I wrestled 4 times. 1 singles that led to a tag on the first show on the last day of the fair. And then we did a show later that evening where I wrestled 1 time, and then also about a royal or something like that. So I wrestled 4 times. And I hadn't wrestled in months. And I was like, why am I even doing this? Like, why am I going through this hassle to put on these shows? Because it's not for me. I wasn't even wrestling. I wasn't making a lot of money. I was dumping it right back into the TV. Because we were back on our second run of IWTV at that time.
Yep.
So I don't even know. I was like, why am I even doing this? And then I just saw, I looked at the list. I have a notebook. I still have one. I usually, when I run shows, I have a notebook where I keep all my stuff in. I just looked at my notebook, saw all the cancellations, and said, why the fuck am I even doing this? And that's what made me want to sell it.
So you didn't know exactly like why there wasn't like maybe like rumors saying like Eric's a bad promoter or something like that, and that's why you can't say.
I think it came down to because we still had a lot of shows every month.
Yeah.
So I think I was overworking people. And also I think people got a lot of egos. Also, there's the back end situation around this time. Yeah, I love how Cat's shaking his head.
Yeah.
All I'm gonna say is, JP, if you flip me around one more time, I'm removing you.
Cat's face broke, but he's just like, yep, he's not lying. Like,
yeah, I know some egos.
So many egos, man.
In this business.
So many egos, and I can't believe it because some of these people don't wrestle anywhere. They wrestled for me, and I was just like, Cat,
yeah,
you're breaking me, dude. You're breaking me. Cat's like, yeah,
we know people's like that. Like it's like, oh, I wouldn't do that.
Dude, it was worse back in the day.
No, I've never heard of it. I've never heard of it.
Dude, it was worse back in the day because we had the TV show.
Oh, yeah.
So everybody thought because they're on TV,
yeah,
that they gotta. I'm like, you realize I could take you off the TV, right? Because I'm the goddamn guy that does the commentary, the editing, everything. I'm the one that brings it to the TV station. I'm the one that knows Mike Palmer and then Palmer that runs the station. Does he still run the station? I don't know.
Last I knew, yes, he does. And
me and him got along. We would talk for like hours about wrestling and stupid shit. But anyway, so that was my reason why I wanted to. I was like, why? I'm gonna get out. Why am I? I literally had notebooks full of contacts, buildings, newspapers, radio stations, certain contacts for certain fundraising groups. I had so much crap. Like I did all this stuff by myself. I had some help at times. Certain people would come in, like a couple times. Sonny would jump back in, start investing in the shows, and try to get back in. Primer did one time. He tried to invest in shows with me and stuff like we all tried to. A couple people tried to show, and they're just like, it's just so much work, and sometimes there's not enough payoff. And that's literally how I felt at the end of that third run of Sky Egan Fair show. I was like, there's just not enough payoff for this. And you gotta think that took 2 weeks out of my life, like where I was literally drive to Sky Egan, do the show, drive back home, do it again. It just was.
You kept driving back home.
Well, yeah. Why am I gonna pay for a hotel? Week. I live in Maine. There's no reason why I should be paying for a hotel when I just drive home. And everyone's like, well, you got to enjoy the fair. I'm like, listen, I hate fairs now because of it. I don't want to do another fair.
Fairs have been ruined. But
like I literally, Larry Huntley did the Bangor Fair, and obviously I live close to Bangor. I'm one of the big local guys in the area up here, obviously. So I ended up doing the Bangor Fair show for him. But I was just like, afterwards, I was just like, I remember why I hate doing fair shows. The first show there, the Bangor Fair, was a dreary day, crappy turnout for the crowd. Second day was great that I was there, but like it was just a matter of I'm the same reason. Like, why am I even doing these outdoor shows? Shit, like
also,
what?
Why do you
I hate days at fairs.
Than homeless people.
Yeah, I hate fair days, like you just said, Eric. I hate them when you get there and it's like. So we had one day at Skowhegan. We got there. It was 1,007 degrees. I'm not even joking.
That's why I hated it too.
Hot as hell.
I agree.
The sky opened up. It poured down rain for 10 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and then it went to 185,000,000 degrees plus 150% humidity. And I was like, oh my god, we got to work in this.
It was so bad. Maybe O'Reilly remembers it. It was so bad at the Skowhegan Fair. With the IWE ring, Old Bertha had a vinyl canvas. And we keep water. I had water for the boys, but I also had water to spray on the ring. Usually it was so hot you could have cooked the egg on the vinyl canvas. You could have put an egg on it and seared it and cooked it.
I had literally I took a bump at some point, and I remember laying there.
You hear the sizzling.
Hear your back sizzling. It was like 3rd degree burn. And
Yeah,
we're not getting compensated enough for this.
Yeah. So on top of that, to talk about the torrential downpour. Well, one day. Who was with me? I think Aiden Andrews was with me. Neil was with me, and we were there, and we ended up having it's raining, and we're like, oh, okay, well, we're already in there.
He rode in the ring truck with me, so that's the only vehicle we had there at the time. So I'm like, all right, well, we're there and it's raining. We're waiting to see if it's going to stop, and it's not. So I asked the fair what they want to do. Like, we're just going to cancel it. No, and we're not turning on the rides. It's going to be a rough day. It's supposed to rain all afternoon. Like, okay, cool. We go to leave. Well, if y'all remember driving through that little tunnel to get to the other side, it was flooded.
Yep.
And I'm in the ring truck, and me and Neil look at it like they want us to drive through that. And we're up in the ring truck, which the ring van was pretty high off the ground, if you remember. It's a Ford Econoline van. It's a Ford Econoline cargo van. It was pretty good off the ground. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to gun it. We're going to go for it. First off, it's a tight squeeze in there for the cargo van. Okay, scary, and it's flooded. So we're driving, like, okay, I'm just going to gun it through and hope we're going to be all right. So we get down there, like, it can't be too bad. We get in there, it's up to the grill. Full on, we hear the water rushing sound. I'm like, I'm gunning it, Neil. Hold on, we're gunning it. It's just tidal waves. We're splitting the sea as we're driving through. And I'm like, oh God, 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 oh God. Like Neil's like gripping his seat, like, oh, we're gonna drown to death in a tunnel. We're gonna drown to death in a tunnel. And we get to the other side, and we hear the water just rushing out of the vehicle. And I just see steam coming up from the hood. I'm like, that's got to be steam. I hope it's not smoke. Please be steam. So we get out. And we were so stressed out, I had to pull over to the side. I'm like, I got to stop.
Had like a crisis.
I stopped for a minute. I'm like, well, let's see if the car's going to break down. I'd rather it break down right here. While we're by people.
Right.
And it didn't break down. It just was, it finally had stopped steaming. And I'm like, okay, cool, we're good. That's fine. We were like, oh my God, but it was scary. It didn't help too the entire time. Well, Neil's gripping his seat. I was literally singing the Jaws music, dun 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 dun. The entire time he was just like, you're a fucking dick. I'm like, yep. I'm like, hey, could be worse. We're gonna break down the middle of this tunnel. A, can't get out the van because we couldn't open the doors all the way because that's how tiny that tunnel was.
Yeah.
And B, we're just gonna drown in here again.
Like, I think I've seen this movie.
It's like we can try to hold out in the back of the van for air. Try to breathe in the back of the tunnel. Yeah. So anyway, to finish, so what led to that meaning me want to sell it? So I put feelers out there through other promoters and people that had invested with me to see if anybody wanted to buy out. And then everybody was shocked that I wanted to buy out. And I said, well, I'm thinking about it. I'm not really positive, but this is what I'm looking for. And I asked for 10 grand. To sell out everything. Mind you, this is the IWE ring van, Bertha, both cameras, all the tripods, all the sound equipment, the 9 years of hard drives, all the belt bag with all the belts, all the extra belts and belt pieces, all the tools. You don't ask me. I sold all this stuff I sold it to the people that bought it, which was Bob, and he brought Sonny in. But it was Bob originally and then Sonny.
Randy has the hard drive.
Randy has the hard drives.
No,
they are
the
password
hard drives,
protected. He doesn't know the password, but he has all the hard drives.
Yeah, that's the shitty part. You can't access nothing.
He was able to access like one or two of them because he did get some footage off them. That's why, like, if you look on the Marine Wrestling Collection page, there's like old IWE matches with Honky Tonk Man and Barbie and stuff up there now. But anyway, the belts. I think this is what I heard just from down the line. So I'll tell you everything I sold first, and then I'll tell you where I think it all went. So Bertha, the ring van, all the cameras and stuff for the cameras, tripods, extra stuff like that. The sound equipment, all the extra cords, all the tools, a second set of ropes for the ring, extra padding for the ring, all the belts, the belt bags, the entranceway, the lights for the entranceway, the special entranceway we only used in Brewer, the big metal one. The nice, cool one. Yeah, the little walkway one. That was cool. They got that. All the banners, logos, website, hard drives, merchandise, they got everything. And then they also got my book of contacts and buildings, everything. They got everything. The only thing they didn't get was my personal items, obviously, that were mine, that I took with me, and the one email address. They got the YouTube channel, the Facebook page, they had the website, they had everything. The only thing they didn't get was one email, and that's because it had my personal information on it, and I couldn't give it to them because I'm like, there's no way to, unless I switch this out to somebody else, there's no way to do that without giving you, and then you have my personal information. I don't think so, Tim. So I kept the one email address, which I still use for wrestling to this day, but
Found
they
out
got everything.
Bertha's EWA.
Well, that's where now I'm going to get into where everything went. Bertha, when IW finally folded, which, like I said, I sold it to Bomb. Sonny came in later. I'll explain all of that here in a minute. But to explain where everything went, there was 2 rings that actually IW owned because they bought the little tiny, the tiny ring. It's like a 12-footer.
Sandbox ring. It's 12. It was 12.
It's a kids or the midget wrestling ring.
Yeah, it was
supposed to be a midget wrestling.
That was fun. I thought.
It's made for easy it's a training ring or a midget wrestling ring, respectively. They bought that ring because Bertha, they abused Bertha. Bertha, I used to get the welding done from a guy that used to do welding on battleships in the Navy. So this thing, it's going to have stress cracks, and he'd weld it and fix it up. When I gave it to him, immaculate shape. When I gave him the ring van, it had a brand new sticker on it, fully inspected. Everything was done with it. Literally, I introduced Mom to my mechanic because he went to where my mechanic was, and he picked it up one day from my mechanic. I paid to have it all fixed up, a new sticker, everything. So this way he knew he was getting everything fixed. Everything was great. Well, the Bertha got sold originally when Sonny and Bomb got done. Bertha got sold to Cameron Matthews, along with the trailer, because they destroyed the ring van. It died after a year for being abused, even though I had it for 9 years.
Right.
1 year they killed it. Well, they got a trailer for it. They sold the trailer and the ring then to Cameron Matthews. I think also and the sound equipment. Bomb kept the belts. I think he still got them. I don't know. The smaller midget ring got sold to a company in Canada. Don't know who. Cameron Matthews set that up because he knew somebody who wanted like a small little training ring, and he set up the deal, but Bomb sold it. So both the rings are gone. Like I said, the sound equipment, and I think some of the banners actually were in the ring trailer when they sold it to Cameron Matthews. Well, Cameron then sold that ring to EWA. He wanted to get rid of it. He's good at flipping stuff because he knows so many people like I do. He's good at getting rid of stuff, getting it out there. You know what I mean? Just, is this the midgety ring?
That's the midget ring.
Is this one where Frank Yeager wins the triple championship or whatever that is?
Probably.
I think I was there in the crowd somewhere, or I was running music. I think I ended up running music.
This was.
I remember the first match ever in this ring. The first ever match in that ring was me and Havoc from Canada.
Yeah.
Havoc's a tall dude.
And we had there was a four-way. It was you, me, Dante Dio, and Frank Yeager in a four-way in that ring.
Yeah. But the first ever match in that ring was me and Havoc. And me and Havoc together, I'm like, oh my God, we did a suplex. And I remember I heard the ring bounce off the ground.
Is that the reason you literally corner?
Been like, yeah. It was insane. It's a couple other.
So I remember you tell me about that because you had to do corner to corner. But to be fair, Kat and I worked this 12 by 12 not too long ago, and it was not fun.
There you go.
I was gonna say you definitely get your ring awareness to a test with a 12 by 12 ring.
You're like,
but it's great for tiny venues, real small venues. This thing is fantastic. I remember they did a real tiny venue in Skowhegan, right by where the fair was.
Like,
I don't remember that, but it fit perfectly in these real tiny venues. You can go off the top rope, everything. It's nice. Problem is, it's not nice for guys like me and Havoc who are big dudes, and we're having the first ever match in the thing. And they're like, "Be careful," and I'm like, "Be careful! I'm a 400-pound dude." And have you seen Havoc? He's good size built, not heavyweight, but he's tall. What do you want? We did a basic ass suplex, a snap suplex, and his ankles hit the bottom rope. Luckily, he didn't bust them.
Oh yeah, you couldn't do suplex. You could only do suplexes corner to corner. And then you were still like
the ring bounced off the ground when we did the suplex.
Yeah,
we thought it was in Fairfield. We thought we were gonna break the tiles on the floor.
Yeah, so imagine that ring inside of a venue like Fairfield, and it's just like a little. It's like we called it the sandbox ring because
how many people?
That's where everything went.
to circle back to the final deciding to sell it. So I'd put the feelers out, and I had a list of stuff that you were going to get with it, like not a bill of sale, but like a list of what you're getting. Bunch of tire kickers. People were like, "Yeah, no one has exactly had 10 grand laying around."
Yeah.
Well, then I guess Sonny was just chatting it up because Sonny and Baum used to work at a car dealership together. And Sonny was talking about it because he was one of the people like thinking about it and was like, nah. Baum was heavily into it. He really wanted to buy it because he had a passion for IWB at the time because, he'd been there most of his career. So he wanted to buy it. So he went after one IWB show one day in Brewer. We went over to Jester's where we all went and we were all sitting there drinking, having a good old time. And
Rip Jester's. I loved that place.
we all did we all missed the hallway. So we used to call it.
That's where I met my ex-wife.
Jester regulars just call it the hallway. Anyway,
yeah.
It's the size of a hallway. So
It's true.
Baum put his pitch in. He tried to lowball me, and I said, "Dude, but this is a flat price. It's non-negotiable. This is what you're getting." And I showed him the paper, like I'd written everything down. He goes, "Fair enough. Okay, I'm definitely interested. Let me see what I can get together for finances." Because much like a car, he's like, "Would you take a monthly payment and a down payment?" I'm like, "Yeah." I mean, he worked at a car dealership, so you know how the thing works. I made the same deal. I said, "You give me a down payment, I'll let you make payments every month at the end of the wrestling weekend. So literally you could be making your money from the weekend and pay me if you needed to."
I remember
goes, "Really?" And I'm like, yeah. And I was willing to do that if he had a substantial down payment, which he did. He gave me it was like $2 or $3 grand up front, and then the rest he did over payments, $500 a month. And I had a three payment miss deal, just like with a car. Like if you don't pay your car payment for 3 months, they repo your car.
Yeah.
I would repo the company if he didn't pay me back. So he had 3 strikes.
What would you have done if that happened? Like, because you didn't.
Well, I remember Jason Rumble going, "Eric's gonna get this thing back in like 3 months." Like he was all about it. He used to rib. He was like, "How many times has Bob missed a payment?"
Bob the Killer Kowalski School for Professional Wrestling. We'll go out and we'll get Eric will get it back.
Jesus.
How many payments has he missed? Well, Bob only missed 1 payment, and I said, "Okay, that's 1 strike." And that's after was what it was. He gave me the down payment. I think it was like.
Was it?
This was. Hold on, I could tell you. Give me 2 seconds to disappear. I have the last event that I ever promoted from the wall. I'm gonna tell you. Hold on 1 second. You're right back.
There's a certain point in time where after Eric had been fully paid off, that's when the entire everything quality-wise of the show went right down the drain.
It was October. The official sale went through, I think, in October of 2016. So, because the last show I promoted, I have the poster on the wall, was January of 2017. Which was the anniversary weekend. Yeah. So I think it was October of I announced it in September that the tentative owner would be here the next month because we had already had everything in works. And then in October, everybody would meet the new owner. October, we finalized the paper like we did at the end of September, into October. Finalized the paperwork, did the down payment, did all that. I brought him to the TV station so they could sign over the account from the TV station to him, the whole 9. Had to have a meeting with Palmer. So you can meet him, sign everything over, move everything around. I signed everything over, and I even said I'd help book and do the street work and the TV editing still for free for the rest of the year. I agreed to do all that stuff for free just to help with the transition. So October, they said technically when the sale went through, but I still help promote the October, November, December, in January date of the next year. That January anniversary show of 2017, which was a 9-year anniversary show, was the official last date I had any involvement with IWE. And I wasn't even financially involved with these shows.
That's so weird.
So October and November were the last dates I was financially involved.
Yeah.
December and January, it was all Baum by himself, funding it. Like I was still helping do the work and I'd front money, but he'd pay me it back just to get everything kosher so I could show him how everything works. Like, here's where you get your graphics from. Here's who Amber was making the posters. So Amber makes the posters. Danger Kid Amber.
with making the posters. This is where you order them from. This is where you do this. This is where the posters go. Here's where you do this. Here's who does that. Here's who you meet over here at the TV station. This is when the stuff needs to be dropped off at the TV station. All that stuff. And I got him through till January of 2017. And then I said, literally as I'm sitting there making the book, January 2017, he was still asking me questions. I'm like, dude, I've helped you October, November, December, and now January. I'm done after this. I'm just a wrestler now. Like, I'm doing this to be nice to have the transition. I give you 4 months of transition.
Right.
So, anyway.
And oddly enough, 2017, like, it wasn't that bad of a year at all. It actually was good. It was.
Well, he got it at the best time, because the best time, and honestly, it's the scariest time, but the best time for Maine wrestling is winter, because there's nothing to do.
Yeah.
But go indoors. So the only scary part is if you hit a blizzard or something during a weekend.
Right.
Well, January 2017 was the last show I helped book it, help promote it, do the whole deal. It was also one of the first anniversary weekends that there was no name on the show, because every anniversary weekend they used to bring in names.
I'm trying to remember what that was. I was there for it. I just don't remember.
That's when we did the tag thing, where if one of us got pinned, someone lost a belt or something. It was me and I think Moxie versus Ricker and I want to say Limits. Don't quote me.
Limits out. The station wasn't formed yet at that point. It was 27. They started like later 2017.
I don't know. I just remember it was a tag match, I believe. So, and this was I was champion around the time when the changeover had happened, when the sale had happened, and I lost the belt and never got a rematch type of deal. And Bomb was trying to pitch his way into the title picture. I don't know if you remember that at all.
Yeah, I do.
So,
yeah.
And I remember the fans started booing when he tried to do that. The fans started booing about it. Oh. I remember even what was his wife's name there? They used to go to the shows all the time. Jody was yelling at him like, "You better not even try to win the title. No one wants you to win the title, John." Like, she used to yell at him about it. Like, people don't want to see you win the title.
She literally used to use his authority figure as a pull for being at shows to just get away with being rude to everyone that was like against her or was rude to her. She was like, "My husband owns the company. That means I own the company." And I was like,
well, here's the thing. Going back to those missed payments, Mom only missed one payment.
Right.
And what happened was he didn't have to pay the rest of the year, because when we part of the deal was when we sold it, he gave me the down payment. I turned everything over to him. I owed a remaining balance at the TV station. He inherited the balance, so that came off the top too. So like, there was a bunch. I literally said, "Don't pay me anything this year. We'll start payments in January of 2017 when everything's fully over to him."
Right.
And that's why I kept helping him, because I wanted to make sure he could make the payment. January he made the payment. February he did not. Or it's either January he didn't make the payment, and in February he did. But one of the payments got paid to me by Jody.
Oh,
I don't know if it was from him or by her. I don't know, but I got the payment, and I was like, okay, whatever. I don't care. They're together. They end up getting married down the line, so whatever. Couples are couples. That's how the shit works. I didn't care. Well, then around the second time, 1 month he couldn't afford to pay me for the second time. And I said, "That's 2 strikes, Bob." He's like, "I know." So going into the month after that, I was waiting in the bar for my payment after the show with everybody else. We're all drinking at Jester's. He goes, "Can I pay you on Monday?" And I said, "As long as you pay me by Monday." "Yeah, Monday to the latest. I'll give you till Monday." And he goes, "Okay." And he sent me a text at the payments at Cityside. You can pick it up. This was on Monday. I went in there. There's a check from Sonny. And that's when Sonny started buying in. And then later they also brought in Hobo Joe, Joseph Primer.
Yep.
He only missed 2 payments. If he had missed a third one, I would have got the shit back right off the bat.
What was the book? He didn't enjoy it.
Yeah. So if Mom had missed one more payment, he would have reverted back, and he literally just bought the damn thing.
Right.
So he missed a payment. Jody covered one. He missed another payment, and then Bomb covered it, and then since then it was 3 people involved because Bomb and Sonny were running it, and then they brought Joe in. It was a 3-way split.
Yep.
So between the 3 of them, they were paying me every month. Plus, they drew enough to pay. They just had to stop booking WrestleMania. They booked a lot of booths. I mean, that's why the wrestling, I'll give it to them. The wrestling, when they first took over, was still great because they had a hell of a huge roster.
Yeah.
And it was had depth. They had some depth. They also had squashed some beef and got all of MSP back in full time doing stuff.
2 years, but they managed to make it work. Or it was about a year and a half.
And they never missed a payment after that. They paid me off. I have no problem with any of them. They made all the payments. They paid me off completely. The only thing I ever had a qualm was I had a deal. It wasn't on paper, but I should have put it on the paper when I sold it. I had a deal with John that I had to work I keep my spot and still work the shows because that's just all I wanted to do at the point with wrestle.
You made a point about that at some point during a meeting, like in general, because it had like gotten to just a point where you were like barely being used, but like enough.
Oh, yeah, they wanted me to wrestle all the young kids, and I said I'm done doing that, guys.
Right.
Like, I'm a competitor. Like I've been doing it long enough. Have someone else do it. And I wasn't against the grain, but I'd be like, what do you want me to do? That's stupid. Like, like if it was something stupid, I'm like, oh, why would I do that? Like I remember one time I wrestled, I think Tommy Lane was the main event man. And I beat Tommy Lane up as the main event man because they didn't have anything. I'm like, but you have stuff for Roadblock, but you don't have stuff for me.
God.
Yeah. So at that one point, I knew the writing was on the wall. I think it was sadly around the time Damian Maine had passed away.
Yeah.
And I was the one that found out because like one of his girlfriends or one of his lady friends had posted it, and I saw it, and I reached out to the person because D Maine was my original announcer for many a year.
Yep.
So I reached out to the person. They told me what happened, and then I went on and told Sonny and Bomb and Hobo about it, and they decided to do a tournament. Well, around the time of the tournament, to like remember him, they got rid of the Al Biondi tournament and did it for D Maine, which made sense because a lot of people at the time didn't know who Al Biondi was anymore.
Right.
We did because we've been around it for a bit. They did. So anyway, they changed the Damian Maine Memorial Tournament, and around that time they had to have me go to meet them at the bowling alley in Newport. So I go to the bowling alley in Newport, and we have the sit down meeting, and they didn't want, like, Sonny was about having me there. He was trying to be like the mediator in the situation, but from my understanding, Bomb and Hobo didn't want me there at shows anymore. And I said, well, I have an agreement with John and a set pay, and I'm going to be on the shows and all this stuff. But if you don't want me there, you don't want me there. And John was playing it up like I didn't have this agreement. I'm like, oh, I see how this is. Cool. Well, I think it's funny you guys are doing a Damian Maine tournament. You wouldn't even known he passed away if I hadn't told you, because you guys don't really. I was getting pissed at the point. I was like, you don't think you guys really give a shit? Like, if you gave a shit, you would have done the work to find out about it, so you could pay tribute to him. Like when someone passed away, I try to find out everything about it, so I know, so I can inform the people that give a shit about the person. Especially in the wrestling world, we're all kind of a community. Right. I found out so I could tell everybody, because I told the locker room page when I found out. I posted in the locker room page. The IDB had a locker room page, posted in the fan page. I was trying to let the fans know, let the boys know. I try to let everybody know he passed away, so we all pay their respects,
Right.
And so they made an agreement. Hey, we'll let you be in the tournament and finish the weekend out. I got to wrestle Shorey and Brewer, because we had a story going, and I said, well, let me put Shorey on the way over on the way out because he put me over already. Let me put him over. And they all agreed to it. We were cool with it. And no harm, no foul. I did the tournament. I lost in the first round. Shocker, because obviously they weren't going to keep me around while we go on the second round, right?
Right.
And then the Brewer show, it's me and Shorey. Shorey takes me aside. I love Derek to death. He's awesome. He's like, hey, man, they want me to squash you, but I'm not doing that. Like, they want you to squash me. I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, first off, you're a 400-pound dude. So how the fuck am I going to squash you? Second off, like, I like you. We're friends. So I'm not going to do that to you. I'm like, cool. I later found out they also had asked him to shoot on me, and he flat out refused. He's like, are you fucking retarded? Are you dumb?
What
the fuck is your problem? Like, I'm not going to do that. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I'm not going to shoot on Eric. You guys are you ridiculous. That's what I heard. And when I went to go confront them later, after me and Shori went out there, had a great match, put him over clean, went and got my pay and my payment, I confronted them about it, and they flat out denied it. But Shori told me, yeah, they wanted him to shoot on me. And he flat out said to their face, "Are you guys dumb? Are you like, I don't like to use the R word retarded, but that's what he said back then. During that time frame, that was the thing. Like, are you guys dumb? You want me to shoot?"
There's a lot of things said back then that shouldn't have been said.
Yeah, different time, different wording. That's literally what he's like. Are you kidding me? Do you want me to shoot on? Are you guys mental? Like, no, because Shori did MMA,
right? Which
but
made
Shori
sense
also,
for them to like say that. They wouldn't have told anybody else that didn't have his background to do that to you. And think
Shori, and then, but Shori also knew I used to amateur wrestle, and I'm a 400-pound man. Like, what's?
Right.
Yeah, they're not going to like
Shori. Listen, I'd be scared to fight Shori because I've seen him throw hands at New England fights plenty of times. Man's scary in there. He knows how to fight, but he respected me enough to tell me that. So, hey, if he's listening, I appreciate you, Derek. Secondly, I don't think he would lie to me about that. So the fact that they asked him to shoot on me and he didn't do it, Shori will forever get brownie points, in my opinion. The fact that they denied it when they paid me my wrestling pay and my pay for the company, I thought that was funny. I was like, I see how this is.
And the shady shit began.